the dean of all Etowah
Tiffany.
County coaches. And Coach Rob, I've been visiting with you many years in the field house and
the pool.
by the pool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was always interesting to go visit with Coach Rob. When I'd go by and see him, he'd say, "I'm at the pool."
Yeah.
So I'd go sit in the concession stand with him and watch kids jump in the pool while he sold Coca-Colas, and we'd talk about football for about an hour or so.
I'm still doing that, Jeff, by the way.
Spider gaskets too.
That's right. I have, sometimes they call me asking me how to fix their own personal pools, and Chris did last year, so.
And the
I
football
think I helped
fields.
him, actually.
And the baseball fields and the
And
basketball courts.
well, I guess so. But anyway, the pool's been good to me. 37 years at the pool, by the way. I'm very proud of that record.
All right.
They haven't tried to fire me over there yet either.
Obviously, the Dean of Etowah County coaches, Hokes, Bluff Eagles, and Mike Roberson, Coach, comment. And you may state why you didn't bring players with you this morning since the other coaches did. And just tell us about Hokes, Bluff Eagles in 2020.
Well, I apologize. I always want to let our student athletes be recognized, but I just thought it'd be better on the safe side. So they may get mad at me. But anyway, thank you guys. I appreciate everything you guys do, and looking forward to the year. It's an unusual spring, summer, now going to be a fall. A little worried, being a little older, as you pointed out, Jeff. But again, we've got to move on with our lives, and hopefully we can just be as safe as possible. But I do think we're in for more challenges this year with the virus situation. We've tried to be safe for summer workouts, but it's on my mind every day, including today, just being here, like I said, without the players. That's the first thing that's changed for me. But we want our players to be safe, and our coaches, one of us a little older. But anyway, thank you guys for having this, and hopefully we'll have a good year.
All right, guys, cut.
Yes, sir.
Coach, you lost some pretty talented players off last year's team.
Oh, here we go. Let's see. We lost a couple of linemen, didn't we? Yeah, we did. Yes, sir. You're exactly right. And, I've been asked that a lot. And, Darian and Ashton, and there were some other guys too, and I won't call them all out, but in particular, those two, as you well know, when you have those kind of players, 4-year starters. So, but I told the players when we got back started, I always use life experiences, and I like to tell my stories sometimes, probably too much, but my junior year, I was a quarterback on a state finals team, and we lost, I think it was 22 seniors off our Hokes Bluff team. And a lot of people thought, it's going to be terrible. And my group of seniors, my class of 77, we got together and tried to make a point that we were going to be competitive. We didn't go back to the state finals, but we were competitive that year. And I told our players my personal story there. And I've challenged our players, expectations, not as high, obviously. Going into new region, we went from the 4A SEC Central to the 3A SEC Central. So I heard Coach Allred there, and he's right, man. We've talked a lot this spring and summer, but we did lose some really good players. But if you have good teams, you're going to always lose good players. That's a sign that you've had good senior leadership. But I'm excited about our guys. We've got 63 guys. They've showed up for workouts from day one. We came back. I don't know if they were bored at home or we're so easy they just couldn't wait to get back and talk to somebody they knew, or whatever. But they've had great attendance this summer. Actually, the best attendance we've ever had in summer workouts. So who knows? But I think our players realize, who we lost. But, a lot of them guys have been playing behind Darian and Ashton and them. And I've told them it's your time. So, we'll see how it goes. But our schedule dictates a lot of that. That wins and losses.
Coach, it's back to AAA ball for the first time since 2011. Thoughts about that?
Well, like I just said, we went back to this easy 3A region that they put us in. It is what it is. I feel no different than I did in 4A. I remember we went 4A. I remember where I was standing when they told us it was going 4A, and it wasn't going 4A. It was who you're playing in your region. Same thing here in 3A. But there's, good football teams. Some of these 3A teams, I want to remind you guys, we're beating teams in my region in 4A. So, I see really no change. It's just going to be every week. You better be ready to play or you're not going to win.
Coach, we were talking about Darian and Ashton, and obviously they're seniors and they're no longer in the program. Talk about the guys that you expect to step into their places and some of the other guys that you expect to step into leadership positions.
Well, the first thing I want to mention a little bit is some of the guys that are going to be our leaders were injured last year. And I'll start with Will Clemens, our linebacker who started for 3 years. You know, Will got mono, I think it was 6th, 7th game of the year, and he played with mono most of the year. We didn't really know it. We just felt like he was just losing energy and finally went to get tested. And Will was, as a sophomore, a really outstanding linebacker and backup, running back, fullback. So Will's back at full speed, and that's going to be a great asset. And then we had a couple of our best linemen last year, not to make excuses, but Austin Blevins and Tyler Weaver were 2 of our top linemen, and they both went down with injuries, knee injuries last year, the 2nd game of the year, coincidentally. So those 3 guys in particular coming off injuries will be 3 of our best players. But we've got a lot of people to replace our secondary. You know, Jeff Noah, Coach Noah, I'll mention him why I got this opportunity. Coach Noah retired. He was the last of my first 4 staff that was so, I guess, synonymous with us winning in football in Hokes Bluff. You know, Coach Patrick Ball, we lost to cancer. Greg Watkins retired. Now Jeff's gone. So we got a whole new staff finally, officially. But our secondary is going to be completely rebuilt. But as far as the other players, we've got some, our quarterback, Connor Faulkner, he got to play when Ashton was hurt. And Connor is going to be a senior. He's been waiting his time, but we expect good things. Connor's a very good thrower, very smart kid. And then we got a couple of running backs that have backed up Darian, Tucker Griffin, and Noah Sprayberry at the running back position. Probably our key offensive player returning is Hunter Burke, our fullback, who was our 2nd leading receiver. And I remember some of you asking me why we keep throwing him the ball, because he's slow-footed. But, you know, I said, well, he always catches it and we throw it towards him. And but Hunter's been a 3-year starter now, and he's a good player. But we got a lot of questions. We do. And so we've got to coach a little bit, see what happens.
Whenever the HSA came out last week and said that we're going to play, I know all this last summer long it's been, you know, will we or won't we play? Just, did you notice a difference in the kids? Were they kind of more, I guess, upbeat after, I guess, having that weight lift off their shoulders?
I think so. They seem to be really excited. You know, every year each group of players are different. I thought you was going to ask me what I think about what's happening. So I haven't signed my contract this year. I'm actually going, we leave here to sign my contract, but I better wait till I sign it before I tell you how I really feel about things. But yeah, you know, the kids, you know, you know, when you're in high school, y'all remember that? Do y'all remember that? Jeff, you're pretty old. I don't know, but when we were in high school, you know, you think you can, you know, beat the world if you needed to, and so they've handled it very well. We've been lucky not to have a case on the team that we know of, but I think, you know, just everything, you know, sitting around for 3 months, you know, you kind of want to get back doing something, and but I've liked their attitude so far. But that's a good question, Teddy. I don't know why, but they seem to be excited, even more so, because summer practice is not fun. I don't care what coaches and players tell you, especially when you get a little older. Summer, it's hot out there yesterday, guys. I don't know about y'all, but it was hot for a 61-year-old guy. So, but they're excited. But good question, yeah. See how it goes.
Coach, talking about your schedule, I know you're playing in the SEC through SEC West, but it looks like a lot of rivalry type games as you look down that list on your schedule this year.
You know, it's really good. You know, going back 3A, a lot of these teams we've played in the past. I was talking to Coach Payne. I go down and visit Coach Payne, who lives in the beach. If y'all don't know who Danny Payne was, but he's one of the best coaches ever in this region. And Danny and I was talking. I said we get to go back and play Ohatchee, play in Piedmont. You know, so just those games, Wellborn, we played. I mean, all these teams we've played in the past, pretty much. And so, yeah, it's going to bring back some games that, you know, some teams that we've played in the past when Coach Payne was the coach, and even when I was my early years.
Any more questions, guys?
Coach, I want to ask you, all these years you've coached football, what keeps you motivated?
Well, you'd like to say the money, but that'd be a lie in this county. You know, I've asked every day, especially working the pool, you know, when you going to retire. I've been to a funeral this morning, most of you know that, but I was asked before 5, how many more years are you going to coach? I answered, you know, I really do enjoy the student athletes. I feel like I am making an influence on their lives. I probably wouldn't have said that 20 years ago when I was trying to save my job, even 4 or 5 years ago. But I've always cared about the players. I feel like I'm a player's coach. But I'm really enjoying now part of the older players, former players coming back and talking with me and saying, thanks, coach. So that's a big part of it. But I do enjoy it. My coaching staff, Jake, all three of the guys coaching with me played on the state championship team. Of course, one of them, my son-in-law, and Coach Ball, Patrick Ball's son. My son's full-time now, just got married. So I'm enjoying them young bucks, as we like to call them. That's okay to say that. But they give me a hard time now because I'm still old-fashioned. I was making a practice, just to give you this, I was making a practice schedule out yesterday, and I tried to get some input from them, and we were sitting there, and Coach Morgan said, Coach, why don't you just get out last year's, or the year before, or the year before that, just pull out that schedule and change the year and the date on it. I said, is it that way? They said, yes. But I've enjoyed, having youth in your coaching staff kind of brings something different there too. Because they're always giving me all these ideas. Of course, sometimes I don't want to sound like one of these old coaches, but they'll say they want to do something. I say, why do we need to change? If they don't give me a good answer, we're not going to change. I'm too stubborn a little bit. But I do enjoy still just going to practice. I said when the kids quit wanting to play with me being the head coach, or my health this will not allow me, that's when I'll quit coaching. And I have to admit, my left knee's killing me right now, and it hurt me yesterday. They made fun of me because I was limping at practice, but it's not going to keep me from coaching. But the players, we still got good numbers. I think the kids still believe in what we're doing, and I'm doing it as a head coach. But I just kind of like being a part of a team. Coach Saban, not to compare to Coach Saban, but, he said last year for the first time, if y'all remember, y'all in the press, so y'all know, he said something about retirement, and he made 2 comments. He mentioned that he'd been on a team since he was 6 years old, a part of a team. And he's 68, 69, is that right? And he said, he worried about not ever being a part of a team. And then he mentioned he really didn't know what's going to be at the end of the tunnel when he comes out of the tunnel. And, I try to play golf. I'm terrible. I'm backward hunting and fishing, so I guess besides still loving my wife, that's about all I do, And I like concerts, but obviously concert season's been canceled. But I don't know. As long as my health, really seriously, and the players want to still play. But I got a great staff. Great support. These young coaches just keep me going. Great question. Appreciate that.
Coach, you mentioned being part of a team. You mentioned the pool and basketball and baseball, everything you've been involved with at Hokes Bluff. How was it from March or April, I guess, when they shut down the schools and everything? What did you do from that point till they said to June when you could start practice again?
Well, I don't want to be funny here, but I built an outdoor building, a friend of mine and I did, and I found out why I needed to be a coach, because I can't hammer, saw, or do anything without being criticized for that. So my friend and I, we built an outdoor building, which took up about 4 or 5 weeks. And that's about it. I caught up I painted my wife's inside of the house. I did all the honeydew jobs, and I guess I'll be doing when I retire. But it was a boring time for me. TV to watch. I know one guy sitting here is a big Braves fan like I am, and I missed the Braves game. I couldn't watch the replays for some reason. But I didn't study football. I didn't pull out old film. I had some coaches say, I watched film, and I really didn't. I just did things around the house and relaxed and was able to sleep and not worry about having to get up at a certain time. And I watched more movies at home than I've ever watched. And so that's kind of what I did. But building that building took up a lot of time.
You missed being around young people, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, that's a good point. They do kid me now a little bit about being older, because I still bring up old things and still do things that we did in the 70s and 80s. But there's something about coaching high schoolers. They'll test you, but they also motivate you and making them do right. That's still a part of our job, teaching them to do right or asking them to do something. But I don't know what you guys did. Some of you wrote some good articles. Some of you wrote some bad articles. Some of you played some good music. Some of you played some bad music. I'm not talking about Teddy. I don't say that. Okay.
Anything else, Coach Rob?
How much has the term brat poison been tossed around in the locker room?
Well, no, because I got plenty of, first question, first question, there's no rat poison if we lose the players that we lost, but well, you know, I hope we'll compete. Obviously, talent level, you can't replace Darian Meads or Ashton Gullidge, and like I said, I keep mentioning them, but we had other good players. We had 3 linemen that played for 3 years that we lost. But no rat poison yet. I just hope this virus treats us right. We can all be safe. It might be one of those nights after a loss when we all made it through the week without the virus getting us. And I still think there's some changes coming. I hate to be negative Nancy here, but since y'all haven't asked me how I feel about the virus, I won't answer that. But it scares me, guys. It does. So I don't know which side of the fence y'all are on, but I got a brother with it right now, and I got 82-year-old mother that we're trying to keep her from getting it. So that's my biggest worries. So.
I think, and there, these kids, you got to motivate them and all that. But, it can be yanked. The rug can be yanked right out from under them at any time.
That's a good point, and I use a little thing with the seniors, when I feel like things during the season is kind of slowing down. I said, I just want to remind you seniors, and I can be negative more than I should, but I said that little hourglass, it's the sand's coming out pretty fast if you're a senior. You only have so many days. And so Wizard of Oz, I was trying to think what movie. That part of the movie scared me, and the witch, the sand was coming out of the hourglass. I don't remember what part that was. That stuck with me. But that sand's coming out for these seniors. But now it could be for anybody. It could be for me as a coach. It could end tomorrow, the season, and who knows if I coach next year. So that old thing about living every day like it could be your last day, it might be play every day like it's your last day. So that's a really good point. It could be made right now for motivation if you want to use it that way. But I'm a realist, and, I'm just hoping and praying one of our players don't get it and give it to the other players or vice versa. Again, that's why they're not here. And I'm not saying y'all are going to give it to them, but just it's a little worrisome. You go out there, they say social distance, but you got to form tackle. Y'all explain that to me, and I'll be a lot better off. I promise you. I just don't understand how they can tell us the social distance. And you can't wear one of these playing football. I just don't think you can. And so chances of getting it, we've seen it, and I don't know when this is going to run, but pro baseball yesterday, right? Worried about the Braves. I know a couple of us are. So you're right. It might be, tomorrow might be they shut it down. So I'm being negative, but it's the truth.
Anybody else? All right, Coach Rob, thanks a lot.
Well, thank you guys. I enjoy talking to you guys. That's the part of coaching I've become to like even more, and I think I've always been pretty good with the press. I know we're not highest level, but you guys, I do appreciate you. And I'm going to tell you, high school football is a lot better because of you guys. And I just want you to know that. And people that don't know that, and I used to kid some of the, I know I'm getting rambling here at the time, but used to, when something wasn't good said about Hokes Bluff, but we didn't get the headlines, parents would call the Gadsden Times, and some of the old guys would call. So we had parents calling from Hokes Bluff saying, why didn't we get the headlines? Because they gave it to somebody else. I said, I apologize, but you guys, I know you're limited in your resources. Some of you are, what you do, the way you do it. I don't know how you do it. I really don't. I can't write very well or speak very well, but you guys make everything sound good, and I just appreciate the excitement you give our kids, because that's who it's about. Remember the players. We got to always remember that. Coaches and announcers and sports writers, we can all be replaced, okay? You can be replaced, and I can. So anyway, thank you.
Thanks a lot, Coach.